These days I'm spending a lot more time by myself. But what I realized in that time is being alone and being lonely are two completely different things. And what I found is that time to myself has given me time to grow. It doesn't mean something is missing. It just means you have more space to become the person you are meant to be. So what I've come to find out is being alone and being lonely are two totally different things. It has happened here lately in my life in the past 4 to 5 years. I was a public figure for a long time and continue to be. It's kind of like people who are in the military and you say, oh, you used to be a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine, right? You don't say you used to be in the Army. No. I'm still a soldier is what they'll tell you. I was a public figure. I continue to be a public figure. When I go out, people recognize me. For those of you who are new to this channel, you might not know that I used to be a television news anchor. I was a news anchor in the morning. So I was that perky, all-American, smiley, happy person that woke a lot of people up in the morning and told them what happened while they slept. So when you're in a position that means you have to be around people a lot when you go to speak or you're an MC or a facilitator and you're around a crowd of people, you get enough of that after a while. Every now and then it's fine. I still do that. I still love to do it. It's few and far between, and I am very, very careful about the dates that I take. It's more important to me that I take that trip alone by myself, or I read this book that I've been wanting to read, or I watch this show that I've been wanting to watch, or I spend time with my father who's getting on up in age, as we all are. Or I do the things that matter to me, that mean a lot. I'll give you an example. Just yesterday, I was at a Chamber of Commerce event. And it was really good about communication, about how to communicate better with your coworkers and how to communicate better in your relationships. I thought it was very, very good. But in that moment that my son sent me a text and said, Mom, you want to go to lunch today? I thought in my mind, which is going to be more important, that I get this, kind of canned, already put together information that a lot of it I've already heard before, just from somebody different at a different time? Or do I want to go ahead and go to lunch and build some memories and have a conversation with my son? So guess which one I chose? I chose to go to lunch with my son. I did the little church tip out, where they put the finger up and they just get their things and they tip out. I did that. And I'm so glad I did. While I'm sure if I stayed there, I would have gotten some very good information about communicating with my coworkers and with other people in my life, it was more important for me in that moment to spend a few minutes, an hour, over a nice meal with my son. And I'm so glad I did. We talked about so many things. We planned out things. We talked about our family reunion. We talked about what my grandkids have been doing. So it was a wonderful few minutes with him. So then later on that day, it was time for me to have my last meal of the day, my dinner. And so I said, what I want to have for dinner today. And I realized in that moment that I could have whatever I want to have because it's just me making this decision for me. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't like going on a date with somebody and I don't want to have like tacos because that's not cute to eat in front of somebody. Or, I don't want to have spaghetti because I might get it all over my outfit. Like things like that you have to think about. When you're out by yourself, honey, it's the best. It is the best. I used to think that was the worst thing that you could have to do is go to a movie by yourself, go to dinner by yourself or lunch by yourself. And now it's the best thing ever. I can sit there and read a book. I can scroll if I want to, or I can just sit there with myself outside and get my thoughts together. And I tell you what, I hear from God so much more when I am alone. I'm telling you, being alone is a blessing. a lot of the times. And the older I get, the more I realize that. That comes with wisdom. You realize that your time to yourself is some of the most productive time that you will spend throughout the day, throughout the week. When I have an issue with a project that I'm working on, if I have some things I need to get together, a deadline I need to reach, like I said, I want to finish a book in a certain amount of time or watch a series or something like that. I find that when I'm by myself, I get great ideas about how to get things done, how to get things accomplished. When I put that phone on do not disturb, that's when I get the most things done. So I challenge you to spend more time just being by yourself in your space and watch what happens. You'll get some great ideas. You will hear from God and you will get closer and closer to being the person you want to be. It's deep. It's really deep when you think about, hey, I don't want to be lonely. I'm not talking about that. That there is a totally different thing between being alone and being lonely. I'm not wanting you to be lonely. You can still call your friends after you spend that time with yourself. Then you pick up the phone. After you spend that time to yourself, then you go somewhere with your friends. But it is very important that you spend time with yourself and with God, just in meditation. I like to do it first thing in the morning. I used to, when I first woke up in the morning, I could not wait to reach for that phone. It was on my nightstand. It was waiting for me. It was charged up. I had left it on the charger. It was ready to go. What happened? Did the world come to an end? Did my girlfriend text me back? Is this ready or is that ready? Did that get delivered? All the things. And first thing, y'all, before I even went to the bathroom, before I washed my face, before I got dressed, I would pick up that phone. I had to get out of that. That was a bad habit because that was just getting the wrong thing in my mind, in my psyche before I even got my day started. So now my morning routine is completely different and I do it all by myself. And it's the best part of the day for me. So you get up, you get yourself together. I usually just put on a little t-shirt and some workout pants or something like that and just go for a walk. My neighborhood is just a circle. It's a loop. So I just walk around it about 4 or 5 times. I have on my headphones. I'm listening to some great music, some Jill Scott, some Robert Glasper, some PJ Morton, something like that. Even some yacht rock from back in the day in the 70s, Doobie Brothers or something like that. But it's just something with a good, nice pace to it. I'm getting that great vitamin D, that sunlight, fresh sunlight in the morning. Then when I get back to the house, before I come in, you might think this is crazy, but I'm telling you, I'm all by myself, so I don't even care. Nobody's looking at me. I'm just home. I'm doing my thing in my yard. So I take my shoes off and I walk through the grass for about 10 minutes. I just walk around in my yard for about 10 minutes. That's called grounding, if you've never heard of that. And I thought it was the craziest thing until I started doing it. I absolutely love it. So get your fresh air in the morning. Do your meditation. Listen to only good things. My good friend Chris told me he listens to gospel music a lot because that's the message you want. What you listen to, what you absorb, what goes inside, it matters and it stays with you. So think about that. When you're alone, you don't have to consider the other person's feelings or what the other person thinks. You can just consider what is best for you and get your mind right and become the person you want to become. And the older you get and the wiser you get about who you are and who you want to be and what you want to become, those alone times are going to be the best times. I'm telling you, this is the gospel. I am telling you. And I always tell you, you don't have to just listen to me, but just try it. Just try spending a little bit more time alone. And I know you probably say that's easy for you to say. You're a woman of a certain age, you're divorced, you're not in a deep relationship. All of that is true. You might be married, so you got to spend a certain amount of time with your husband. You might have kids at home, so you might have to spend a little time with them. You might have a full-time job, so you might have to spend a lot more time with your coworkers than I have to spend. I get that. But then that means you just have to work a little bit harder to find that time, those little alone times throughout your day and throughout your week. You're going to have to plan those times because they're that important. Time is your most precious commodity because you cannot get it back. You can't say, oh, wait, let me rewind and let me do what I really wanted to do. Mm-mm. And if they're your friend, they will understand that. If you say, look, I have something planned already. Thank you for the invitation. Please include me next time. And I hope I know in enough time where I can, plan ahead and do that with you. Even if it's day of, though, you have a ticket. It's the day of. They're looking for you. Sometimes you just don't feel it. And that is okay. That is okay. Do not feel guilty for making space for yourself. I'm telling you, you are the most important person in your life. And if you don't feel like getting up, getting dressed, going out, and being on, it's okay. That is perfectly fine if you would rather be home alone with your feet up on the coffee table or on the couch with a little blanket over your legs, reading a book, reading your Bible, becoming centered, meditating, washing your clothes, cleaning up, because that makes you feel better too. And we're going to talk about that at another time. That's another conversation for another day. But decluttering, putting stuff in storage, donating things, whatever makes you feel happy, content, and together as a person, put together, then that's more important than going out and hanging with your friends, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But now I know people count on you, and I know you want to be there. So if that's what you want to do, fine. But if it is that day, I'm telling you, do not feel guilty. Do not feel guilty. Because they need to make those decisions for themselves as well. And you'll be being a good example, actually. I love being alone at this big age. At this big age, my alone time is some of my favorite time. It really is. And I don't feel guilty about it anymore. I love being with me. I love the person I'm becoming. And so I love spending time just with her. And if that's how you feel, that's just fine. And I want you to not feel guilty about that. I want you to make space for that. I want you to make space. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace in this new space, in this new time in your life, because you're becoming, you're developing, you're evolving. And a lot of that is going to happen by yourself. All that good stuff is going to happen by yourself. I know some people just want somebody to bear witness to it when that kind of stuff happens. But if you want to share that with them, talk to your friends. Tell them about what happened when you were alone, because you're going to have some epiphanies. That doesn't usually happen when you're out and you're surrounded by people, that you're going to have an epiphany in your life. That's going to happen when you're somewhere by yourself, even if you're sitting at your desk, if you're sitting in your car, if you're walking around your neighborhood or at the track or wherever. That's when those thoughts, those epiphanies are going to come to you, and you're going to be like, oh, that's such a great idea. Or, oh, that's what I've been looking for. That's what I wanted right there. Those things usually happen when you're all by yourself. When you're all by yourself, then you get to share it with somebody else and maybe help them as well. Because this is what I think is so great about those alone times and those times where you connect with yourself and become more of yourself. You're able to share more. You're able to help somebody. You're able to be that example, that inspiration, because you're becoming the person that you want to be. And that way you can be who you want to be for other people. And that's where the magic happens. That's where the magic happens, when you become the person you want to become, and then you're able to share that with other people. So I thank you for spending this time with me, because you could have been anywhere, including all by yourself. But I'm glad that we got to spend this time together. And what I'm trying to do is build a community where you don't have to be around a lot of people to feel like you're a part of something. And that's another thing you get by being alone with your own thoughts, is that you get to find out that, yeah, I'm going to spend whatever time I spend with other people or doing things in the way that I want to do it and when I want to do it. And that's very important to the quality of your life.
I've never traveled all alone, or built a fire on my own, but I know I can, 'cause it's so